Hello, this is a Steinway Model O grand piano. That's 5'10.5" long, 180 centimetres. Just come into stock, so just assessing the piano to see what sort of work we might need to do to improve it. Made in 1904, it's got a beautiful rosewood case, as you can see. Excellent grain. Our polisher's just looked at it and he would be very thrilled to repolish this. You can see it's damaged there. It's not incredibly bad condition actually. You could probably make good rather than repolish the whole piano. Repolishing, French polishing, takes 70 hours, 30 coats of French polish applied. It does look spectacular after that, obviously, but you can see the few defects here and there which we can disguise or fully repolish. In a way, it's not a candidate for full repolishing in the sense that it's in good condition already, but it's possible if you want that done. So this is the back of the piano. You can see the quality of the rosewood is really spectacular, as you do get on Steinway's, Bluten's other pianos of that age. There's another defect there, as you can see. The legs are slightly darker, and someone's tried to knock this leg in, I think, to do with the removal of the piano. So that's something we can certainly make good, disguise it, or if it's fully repolished, then that would almost disappear completely. And the top of the piano, well, again, spectacular veneer, some scratches there. Let's just lift this up and we see that there is a fade line on it. It's not a hugely great fade line. Sometimes if that's been kept back, you get a much bigger fade line, as we mentioned before. But look at the spectacular veneer on the piano. So this bit here is darker, even more spectacular. It would turn out sort of more that colour. Well, I think in between the two, if we repolish the piano, you can opt for a lighter or darker depending on what you'd like, but normally we do natural French polish, so that'll be quite similar to that. Slightly lighter, I think, slightly more golden perhaps. It's got 88 keys, ivory key tops, which are all there, but in fact they have come off many of the fronts, about 25 of them, when we got the piano, but they're all kept inside the piano, fortunately. So they would need clamping and gluing. If you see that one there that hasn't come off, there's hardly any join line there if you look. So it'll be difficult to get as little join line at all as that. When that was put on originally, it's almost invisible. At the top end you can see one or two here. That's original, not come off, but you can just see the line. But these ones, obviously, it's quite difficult to get them back on and not have any line whatsoever there. We don't want a ridge either, so it's a long job to do each one of them. We have to clean the key top that might have been played a bit with the key top off. In fact, it was apparently on loan to Wells Cathedral choristers, so I wonder whether perhaps different humidity would have caused these to come off. That's what happens. The wood underneath expands or contracts and then the key top comes off. It's quite common on Steinways for that to happen. There's several here that haven't come off, but many, as you can see, they've come off. I can lift that a little bit. So I've put them all on. In fact, there were two extra, surprisingly, that came with the piano. So we certainly got enough to replace them, or if we, to put them back on, I mean. But if we replaced the keys completely, we could replace them with modern cellulose type of key tops, which would actually be a quicker job than trying to put all these back on. But if you want to keep the authenticity of the piano, you would obviously want to put these back on, and there is a reason to keep it, because it's got an interesting history. Now, Steinway's told me that the piano was originally sold to dealer Teague & King of Winchester, and as you can see there, but at the bottom there it says there's a note marked property of Myra Hess. And Myra Hess is a pianist, and I've certainly learnt a lot from this, because I didn't know that much about Myra Hess. I looked on the internet and managed to find this book about Myra Hess, and so I'm just started to read it. It's just come in today. Apparently during the Second World War, when concert halls were closed, she gave concerts in the National Gallery. During the war, the concert halls were closed, and Myra Hess apparently suggested to Kenneth Clark, the director of the National Gallery, that they could perhaps do concerts in the National Gallery, because all the pictures were taken out. I'm still learning a lot myself, but this is a wonderful article by her great nephew Nigel Hess about concerts she gave in the National Gallery, and about 1,900 concerts around about were made. You can correct me and I'll have to find out much more. I'm still learning about this myself. That's a photo of her, and that's one of her most respected recordings of "Ge's You Joy of Man's Desiring." The piano itself has been beautifully restored and plays excellently, and very delicate and very beautiful tone, as we'll hear soon. It's been well restored, as you can see. It's not very long ago, I would say. Not sure when it was restored. I asked Steinway about that. They haven't come back to me at all, but certainly the restoration is as high quality as you can possibly get. You can see, and it's been kept really well. Obviously we've cleaned it up slightly, but it was already in extremely good condition when we got it. Piano was already at pitch and almost in tune. I've just fine-tuned it, and tuning pins are extremely tight. Obviously that's really important because you want it to stay in tune, but it was actually almost dead in tune when it arrived with us. And certainly the restoration's been done as well as you could possibly do it. These are these hinges, very important. You can see they've replaced the screws here. The screw sometimes coming off and being taken back on. The wood underneath here, there's a rail here that's metal and containing wood, often it needs replacing, and has been replaced in this case. So as much as you'd expect to be done has been done. You can see lubrication here. You see the talc that's been put onto here. These on the roller, brand new rollers, and hardly any wear since it's been done. So we're very encouraged by all of that. It's as good a job as we possibly do. Just little bits of refinement we've managed to find, but otherwise you can see the springs operating perfectly there. So assessing the piano, it's very little work for us to do, just little bits of refinement here and there, like the unicorda, just a bit less. We've already done that, so it travels a bit less. The replacing or making good the ivory, the key tops. So that's something, if it's going to the USA, for instance, we would have to replace the key tops. You're not allowed to send ivory over there, unfortunately. And voicing the hammers, well, not hugely. They're actually very nicely voiced already. Reweighing the keys, yes, well, 52 is within the range, plus or minus 2 we managed to get 2 grams. So 52 grams, that's absolutely spot on. 50 grams here, that's fine. 49 there. There's a few light ones here. But it does go lighter towards the treble anyway, and we could certainly make that within the range of plus or minus 2. We would say that was 47. The older Steinway is actually slightly lighter than the modern piano. Comparing the tone of the piano with some other pianos, I'm going to play black keys, because when you touch the ivories they move around, so just the black keys mostly. This is a fully restored 1920s Bösendorfer. This is 2 meters long, so it's a longer piano. This is a 2 meter Bechstein, about 1898. This is going to the USA actually. So that's a Steinway Model O grand piano made in 1904, 180 centimetres long, it's 5'10" and a half, and it's really one of the best grand pianos of this size you can get, and if it's fully restored like this one is, it's the most beautiful piano, both tone-wise and appearance. I can thoroughly recommend it. I'm so pleased to get it in stock, and with the interesting past history of the piano as well. Myra Hess is somebody I didn't really know much about at all. I'd heard of her, I knew she was very respected, but didn't realise how wonderful a character she was. So it's really the piano obviously that's important for you if you want to buy a piano. In the end of the day, it's the sound and the touch, but this is a beautiful sound and touch as you're going to get from any grand of this size, and as good as buying a new piano, by the way. A lot of people want to buy a new piano because they think it's going to be more refined, but this is just refined, and in fact the geometry of the action and so on is possibly better than a new piano. I really do believe that. Steinways fully restore pianos of this age themselves and sell them for the same price as new pianos. You can find that out for yourself, but really excellently made and just as good as pianos you'll get. You can tell I'm playing the black keys only because the naturals when you play them tends to come off, and we can easily fix them back on, though fixing them back on will cost as much as replacing them, more actually, I think, because it takes longer. Replacing them doesn't take really, it's a routine job that we're used to, and it's quite straightforward and very commonly done. So if you're interested in the piano, please do write to us, info@robertspianos.com. I'm going to learn more about Myra Hess hopefully in the future, and may put some corrections underneath if I said anything wrong, so sorry if I have. So thank you very much for listening.